President Biden is traveling to two key battleground states on this Labor Day to highlight what the White House calls the dignity of American workers. The president is delivering remarks in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. His appearances in the swing states come as we've been reporting how a federal judge authorized the appointment of a special master to review the documents seized in the FBI search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. CBS's Natalie Brand has more.
A federal judge in Florida has authorized the appointment of a special master for an independent review of the items the FBI seized from former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. The ruling puts the Justice Department's investigation into the documents on hold for now, though the national security assessment can continue. The detailed list of inventory taken from Trump's Florida residence includes more than 13,000 items, among them more than 100 documents marked classified, and 48 folders with that marking found empty.
The shameful raid and break-in of my home, Mar-a-Lago, was a travesty of justice.
The legal victory comes after Trump had lots to say about the FBI and President Biden at a rally in Pennsylvania over the weekend.
He's an enemy of the state. You want to know the truth?
Both the former president and the current president are working to energize voters ahead of the midterms.
The extreme MAGA Republicans in Congress have chosen to go backwards, full of anger, violence, hate, and division. But together, we can and we must choose a different path.
President Biden spoke to union workers in Milwaukee this Labor Day.
When I say the democracy is at stake, I mean what I'm saying, literally.
Then the president headed to another union event in Pittsburgh, his third visit to Pennsylvania in less than a week. The midterm elections are now 64 days away. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
CBS News reporter Sarah Ewall-Wice joins us now from West Mifflin, Pennsylvania. Sarah, what can you tell us about who has come to see the president there in West Mifflin, and what is he slated to talk about?
Yeah, so we're here with the United Steelworkers Union. Of course, President Biden talking about being the most pro-union president ever. He's supposed to give remarks very shortly. The motorcade has rolled up, so we know that he's here. He's supposed to mingle with the crowds here. This is very much an American quintessential picnic. There's food here. There's some games going on in the corner. People have their families here as we wait for the president to give his remarks. There are a few other officials who are here. There's definitely a congressman, the county executive we saw. And so we're just waiting for the president to speak at this time.
So, Sarah, this marks President Biden's third appearance in Pennsylvania over the course of just the past week. So why is he spending so much time there? Of course, he's from Pennsylvania, but why else is he there?
You know what? We are about to head into the biggest part of the midterm cycle where everyone hits the road. The president, of course, also hitting the road a lot ahead of that. And Pennsylvania is a huge battleground for the presidential election, but it also is a huge battleground for the midterms. The governor's race, we have Josh Shapiro, the attorney general, running against a state senator, Doug Mastriano. We also have Senator Pat Toomey retiring, leaving an open seat in the Senate. We have John Fetterman, the lieutenant governor, running as a Democrat against Dr. Mehmet Oz, the Republican in that race. And so we expect the president already was here twice. This will be his third trip here. And we expect him to be continually traveling throughout some of those battleground states moving forward as well.
It's a busy time for sure. So Monday also marks the first time since 2014 that a sitting president attended Milwaukee's Labor Fest. So how significant was President Biden's earlier appearance in Wisconsin?
You know, that speech was very much a campaign speech. He talked about being pro-union, really talking about the importance of the worker. But it was a lot of the lines we heard of since he was on the campaign trail about how the unions and the workers built the middle class. With that said, he also was touting some of his achievements, talking specifically about the bipartisan infrastructure bill that passed, talking about the American Rescue Plan and how those will create jobs, also the Inflation Reduction Act, and then the CHIPS and Science Act. So really going out and trying to tout some of those achievements. It's interesting to see him going out and talking specifically about unions because we know right now, according to Gallup, unions have approval is at the highest it's been since 1965. And of course, union members, about 40% of them have been saying that their membership is very important to them. So a lot of positive news coming out for unions and, of course, union workers.
All right, Air Force One is obviously putting some miles on because what can you tell us about the president's domestic travel schedule over the coming months? So what else is he doing to push his and the Democrats' agenda ahead of those all-important midterm elections, which are about 60 days away or so.
Yeah, so, it's interesting to see what candidates want to appear with the president, which ones don't. As his approval has been ticking up, it's been noticeable that we've seen more candidates out on the road with him. And we expect his schedule out in these battleground states around the country to continually ramp up ahead of November. Just this week, we know he's traveling again. He'll be in Ohio at the end of the week where Intel is opening a plant, their semiconductor plant. So he'll be there to tout that achievement as a part of his travels. He also has several events at the White House this week. But it'll be interesting to see as things go moving forward over the next couple of months. We expect it to be a busy time for both the president, the vice president, as well as other members of the administration.
Yeah, and reporters like yourself. Sarah Ewall-Wice speaking over all that music as well. Sarah, thank you.